Want to know what Parisians eat? In today's edition of the Paris Weekly Vlog, I will show you what I eat over a 24-hour period here in Paris. I'll also share insights on traditional French foods and French culture. Bonjour my lovelies! So one of the questions I receive the most often is on the food and what we eat here in Paris. So in today's edition of my Paris Weekly Vlog, I am going to show you what I eat in Paris. It is Tuesday morning. I have a workout that starts in half an hour, so I gotta scarf this food down. And I'm starting it off with my good fashion Fromage Blanc, which, you know, has a lot of protein in it. Fromage Blanc is, I don't know, it's kind of like yogurt. I think that's the best way to describe it, but it's not yogurt, because yogurt is something different. And then I put in my yogurt, oh no, that's my alarm. And then I put in my yogurt these croustillant things. Fromage Blanc is a traditional French delicacy. You will see it on restaurant menus as either a breakfast option or a dessert option. When served as a dessert, it's served similar to how I made it for breakfast. Traditionally, you consume Fromage Blanc with honey, fruit, and some sort of croustillant. Okay, so I just got back from my workout. I have showered and everything, and now I'm going to make myself a kale and apple smoothie. And I'm gonna put collagen in it because, you know, darling, gotta look young. And I'll probably do a little bit of the Fromage Blanc to add in some protein. And then I'm going to do, I'm going to make, let me show you. So I bought these during the Soldes, which you will know if you saw my Soldes haul, and I'm gonna make eggs and kale in this as well, and just cook up like 2 of these. So let's do that. Breakfast is usually a light meal in France. Just an orange juice, yogurt, and some fruit. Sometimes there will be an egg. You shouldn't really expect to find smoothies as part of breakfast. That is definitely an American hold'em. Lunch, on the other hand, tends to be heavier. Since we had enough kale left over after making the smoothies, I thought it would be good to make an egg souffle type dish for lunch and then pair it with a salad. Needless to say, we inhaled this. I will also note that kale is very difficult to find in France. It's simply not a vegetable people tend to consume often. Vegetables that I see French people cook with often include leeks, endives, and of course, potatoes. The little egg concoction is cooking. I popped it in the oven at 175, and so it's in there, it's cooking, it's almost done, and as soon as it's ready, I'll take it out, and then I'll show it to you, and then I'll taste test it, and we'll see, like, if it came out all right. Okay, so the eggs are done, and I'm going to show them to you, but I just want to tell you something. The recipe requires 2 eggs. I was right from the beginning. It was always 2 eggs. It is not 3. Little petite explosions. Woo! So, who wants to go first? Okay, we're going to try it. Let's see how it tastes. Okay, the center, I don't know if it's not done or if it's just hot. But the rest of it's done. Yep, that was a good recipe. Just so you know, I don't use recipes. I literally make them up as I go. But this is good. Ooh, it's hot. Ooh, it's hot. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot. It's hot, 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 hot. The center wasn't cooked, so I popped it back in the oven for about 10 more minutes, and when it came out, perfection, darling. So it is time for dinner. For dinner tonight, I am going to saute some Brussels sprouts with a little bit of garlic and a little bit of onion. Normally, I would also put bacon with that, but I'm tired and don't want to have to leave my house. So that's just that simple. I'm not going to do it. I actually don't have any meat here, unfortunately. So it is going to be the Brussels sprouts. And then I also have some coquillettes. They're like mini mac and cheeses. And so I may add, like, I have some coquillette with some ham in it and cheese, and so instead I'll probably whip that up so I can just get a little bit of a protein, because otherwise I will still be hungry. So I have now chopped all of the onions. I have broken apart the Brussels sprouts. Actually break them apart like this, so I like literally like get the individual leaves, and then I'm going to put it all on my cast iron pan because I find that this cooks best on a cast iron pan. I get like nice crispy like Brussels sprout leaves. So let's get it all on the stove. One of the most important aspects of any French recipe is butter. French butter is so delicious. It is softer than American butter, so you do not need a lot when you cook. However, it really infuses the dish with flavor. This brand of butter that I'm using to cook this dish is absolutely one of my favorites. Okay, so I've decided to do the coquillette and the jambon, and so these are them. It is a family size package that I got from Picard like maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and I mean, you can only keep it a week anyway. Picard is a frozen food store, and I've talked about that before in my grocery video, so I'll make sure I link that. But yeah, sometimes when you're tired and you just need some food, Picard is a go-to place, and this Nutri-Score is B, which is why I got it. So we're gonna cook that and have it with our Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts are so good. Like, I'm a queen! Coquillettes with ham and cheese is a very traditional French dish that you will see in a lot of cafes in Paris. It only took about 10 minutes to heat this one up though, and it was just a nice, simple addition to the dinner and so delicious. Okay, so one thing I will say is that normally with something like this, I would actually eat it with fish, but I'm so tired. I did not sleep well last night, so I'm just gonna eat this. And Juju is actually working out right now, so I will package up some Brussels sprouts and save them for him to eat when he comes home if he wants to. Otherwise, we can have it as part of lunch and then hopefully have it with meat. But the coquillette and the jambon will be good enough for me. And because I'm all alone, I'm going to seriously drink a glass of wine and eat this food standing right here, and then take a shower and go to bed. I did not save anything for Juju or tomorrow. The Brussels sprouts were so delicious, I ate them all myself. When it comes to buying food in Paris, most food spoils after only a few days. As a result, I often find myself eating the same thing multiple days in a row. This doesn't bother me as I attempt to use the various ingredients in different ways for each meal. But with this Fromage Blanc this morning, I literally just ate it the same way because I just love it so much with these croustillons. The people in this house are hungry. We do not have food for dinner. We're going to the market. We're going shopping, and yes, we need to eat. Snacking between meals is strongly discouraged in French food culture. The exception to that is the well-recognized snack time between lunch and dinner that's called Gouter. During Gouter time, you usually order fries or cheese. Since the weather happened to be gorgeous on this day, Juju and I decided to do exactly that. Okay, Juju, what did you have to eat?
Now it's a cutting, Adriel, it's cutting.
Okay, what did you have to eat?
Saint-Nectar.
It's a type of cheese, and then a salad, and then we had fruit, and then I had the restaurant's house lemonade. It was good, right?
Very good.
Okay. And now a rant. Because we all know a Paris weekly vlog never ends without a rant. Okay, so disregard the fact that I look terrible and that I don't sound that great because I'm sick. I'm sick again. But I have to tell you this story. I have to tell you what happened. So basically, on Saturday morning at 1 a.m. in the morning, no, 1:30 a.m. in the morning, I hear an alarm going off, and it's really, really loud, and I'm just about to go to sleep at 1:30, and so I didn't know what it was, and Juju wasn't home yet. I called Juju and I said, Juju, where are you? He goes, I'll be home in 15 minutes. I was like, when you get here, please check out and find out like what that noise is. Is it inside the apartment building or is it outside? Because if it's outside, I'll be cool, I can sleep. If it's inside the apartment building, I need to know what that noise is, okay? So basically, Juju comes in, you know, after about like 20 minutes or whatever. He does his little investigation when he gets home, and he goes, the sound is coming from the neighbor's apartment directly below us. And I was like, that's what the alarm is coming from. I was like, yes. He goes, I go, what should we do? And he said, that could be the gas, that could be the smoke detector alarm, that could be carbon monoxide. Like, we need to call the pompier. Pompier are the firemen. I'm like, cool, sounds good. I trust Juju. Juju's French, right? That's Juju. So basically, Juju calls the fire department. All of a sudden, next thing I know, the fire department are in our apartment. They're like talking to him. I'm like, what the heck is happening? I get up. I'm like, what the heck is happening? You know, they're like there's like their fire truck. And the thing is, we live right, like almost right across the street from the fire department. So I guess like at some point while he was waiting for the fire department, Juju like went outside and like walked to the fire department and was like, hey, I'm the one that called. And they were like, oh, he's like, I live right here. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, so they like, some of them like walked over with him. So it's like 10 firemen walking up and down the steps between the neighbor's apartment and our apartment, and then like also all the way down. They're talking loudly in the courtyard. Of course, there is the sound of the alarm. By the time I get up and I'm standing in the hallway, it is so freaking loud in the hallway. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So by this point, it's like 2 in the morning, 2:15, 2:30. So the firemen knock on our guardian's door. Guardian doesn't answer. The firemen are like, okay, well, they then go up and knock on the neighbor's door. Neighbor doesn't answer. They're like, all right, well, we got to enter the apartment. So the firemen get up their little ladder and like climb up the side of the building and get onto the neighbor's balcony, and they open the neighbor's window from the outside. So in opening the neighbor's window, they crack the window a little, but they don't like it's not damaged in the sense of like there's a hole or something like that. It's just a crack, but they managed to like get into it and whatever else. They come out and they're like, okay, nothing is wrong. It seems to be a problem with her fire detector. There is something that's going wrong with it, so we've just activated it. We're gonna like leave her a note explaining what happened, and then you know, but we're gonna check and make sure there's no gas, no carbon monoxide, all of that. So, and they were like, it's good that you called though, because this building has had a couple gas leaks before, and so it's like really important that you called. And we were both like, okay, great. So Juju went to bed, and he was so proud of himself, y'all. He says, I'm super Juju. Everyone is gonna be so happy because I made sure that everybody was safe. No good deed goes unpunished in this country. No good deed. I don't know what is wrong with these people. So, before I go to bed, I send the neighbor a text message. I was like, hey, I just want you to know that the fire department had to open your apartment. They had to go in through your window, and essentially, like, this is what happened, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if you have any questions. So the next morning I wake up to a text message from her, and she says, the guardian is really upset. She had no idea about any of this that happened last night. I was like, what? To which I just responded with, I find that really hard to believe. It was incredibly noisy. It was ridiculously loud. And, it was... I don't know how she could have possibly not heard that, particularly since she told me that the cat's meow woke her up, and that our cat meowing, Mr. Smog, could not go into the courtyard because his meowing woke her up. So then the guardian was like, well, did you ring her bell? Then the neighbor goes, oh, well, did you ring the guardian's bell? And I said, the fireman knocked on her door. So I'm thinking that's sufficient. What's the difference between ringing your bell and knocking on your door? If it's that noisy, and you don't hear it, you're not hearing it either one, right? So then I hear from another neighbor, oh, the guardian is really, really mad that you guys did not tell her about this. I said, how could she have slept through it? I was like, I said, she's the one who told me that Mr. Small could not go down into the courtyard on his own because his meowing woke her up. How on earth did she not hear the 10 firefighters walking up and down the steps for 30 minutes? How did she not hear that alarm? I said, I find that really hard to believe. I said, I personally find it really hard to believe. But no matter what, they knocked on her door. And then again, that neighbor goes, well, did you ring? I was like, what is wrong with you people? Like, the ringer isn't louder than the fireman's knock. Like, what are you people talking about? Like, the neighbor comes home that night. The neighbor wasn't there that night. I want to note, the neighbor is an elderly woman. So when I learned that all this, I was like, oh my gosh, like, is she okay? Did something happen to her? We also thought, you know, her apartment is directly below ours. So if it goes up and if there's a fire and if there's something in there, we're going to be the ones who like suffer the consequences, right? So we have the highest vested interest also in figuring this out. So turns out the neighbor was in Italy until that afternoon. So she came home that afternoon and she was like, come down and tell us what happened. And she was like kind of mad. Like we told her like, oh, we were worried about you. And she was just like, well, why didn't you ring the guardian's bell? And I was like, but the fireman knocked on her door. And then I said, but also how could she not hear it? Because it was so loud. Like how could she honestly not hear it? And she's like, well, if you didn't sound on the guardian's bell, that's what you needed to do. I was like, really? That's what I needed? We needed to, ringing on her bell would have made all of this, like, would have ended all of this? So she was like kind of like lightweight mad at us. And I was like, well, we were worried about you. And she was, you know, offended, upset, annoyed, frustrated that she had to now deal with this window. And I was kind of like, what is wrong with you? And then what she said as we were leaving is, well, next time, you know, you have a problem in your apartment, I'm going to call the firemen too. And I said, oh, please do. I most certainly do not ever want our guardian in our apartment ever because I don't trust that woman. I don't trust her. And so literally, I was so vexed by the whole thing that I sent my French teacher a message and said, you know, is this a cultural thing? Am I missing this? Because to me, like, this is very normal. This is what you would do in America. And she said, Adriel, you did nothing wrong. She's like, what probably happened is that your guardian didn't want to get out of the bed. And I was like, yeah, that's my thought too. She didn't want to get out of the bed. She wanted to, and so she was like, oh, I'm going to let like the fire people deal with it. And then when the neighbor is now mad because her window is now broken, like her window has a crack and she has to replace the glass, she's like upset about it. She's trying to like blame it on us. And she's like throwing us under the bus. And the neighbor is of course going to like, you know, to accept that. And so, so as a result, like that's what happened. And since then I have not spoken to the guardian because my view is something is wrong with you. Something I'm keeping my distance from you forever from now on because this is unstable. And then also when it comes to the neighbor, my view is I'm staying away from you too because I went through all this effort because I was worried about you. Like I was worried about us second. I was worried about you first. And you don't have to worry about that again, ma'am. That will not happen again. Next time, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take all my little stuff. I'm going to pack myself a little bag. I'm going to walk on out the building. And I'm going to ring the guardian's bell as I walk out the building. And if she helps y'all and y'all don't die that night, great, wonderful, perfectly fine. If she doesn't, oh well. So yeah, that's what happened.
Well, there you have it. I hope you have enjoyed this week's edition of the Paris Weekly Vlog and getting to see what I eat in one day. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and talk to you again soon. Bye!